being an Optavia has allowed me to do. All right, everybody, welcome. I am Meg Johnson. It is Monday, January 29th. It is the last Monday in January, and we are so excited to spend time with community with each and every one of you. So as we are getting started, tonight's call is all about numbers made simple. And if you are like most every person in the world, minus our accountant and our math friends, the word numbers makes you just kind of like squeal a little bit, right? It makes you not feel all the warm and fuzzy things. And so we are here tonight to make numbers seem so simple for you. I am a recovering financial planner, so I'm one of those weird people that gets excited by numbers, and there are so many ways that numbers can be for you. So as Dee's gonna get us rolling here in just a second, but we want you to think about what Optavia has done for you, and if you can put that in the chat, we would love to see the different things that Optavia has done for you. Dee?
Yeah, so when I put the recording in progress, people didn't hear the question. So thanks for repeating that. So whatever Optavia has done for you. And we're excited, you guys. Hello, Monday night. Good to see you. And we are excited because we have a new coach on our team. So somebody who has caught the vision of what Optavia can do for them. And so we wanted to introduce her, but also talk to her sponsor. Kind of what did their conversation sound like? What did her sponsor or coach, which is Frank, what did he see in her and how Optavia can benefit? And then what did Mo see? So Frank, we'll start with you first. So Mo is her name. So it's Modesta Garcia Atwater. I don't know if you want to come off mute for a second, Mo, and say hello.
Hello, how's everyone?
Good. It's good to see you. Where are you coming from? Where do you live?
So I live in San Antonio, Texas.
Ah.
But right now I'm traveling for work. So that's why I'm in my car.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah. Well, we're glad you're with us. And we've got a couple coaches in Texas in the Dallas area. So you're not alone out there. But I wanted to ask you, Frank. So I know that Mo became your client back in November. And obviously in your conversation, something must have sparked or you might have, thought about offering the opportunity of coaching. So we'd just love to hear from your side, what you saw with Mo, and then how did you bring up the subject and when? Because again, she started in November, became a coach in January.
Yeah, that's a great question, Dee. And, when somebody reaches out to me, sometimes I'll send them a link to my Jot form. Sometimes I don't. It's really a gut feeling. But for Mo, I sent her a link to my Jot form. She filled it out. I got it back. And I have modified my, the traditional Jot form. One of the questions I have in my Jot form is when I ask them for their occupation, one of the other questions is, how often do you look for another job? And it's, like rarely, sometimes, never, whatever. And she put sometimes. And I thought, So what I'm listening for throughout my health assessment, through our initial conversation, are little clues. And to me, when I saw that sometimes, that was, well, maybe she's not happy at her job. Oh, maybe she is, maybe she's not. I didn't know, right? So she, we do the health assessment, the telephone call. She's very engaging, very polite. She tells me she's a professional. She's a nurse practitioner by trade. She's actually working currently as an administrator, a director of a facility. But then she tells me during the health assessment, she also has a part-time job working in hospice. So again, another red flag for me goes off like, she's working full-time as a professional, and then she's got a part-time job. Maybe she needs the additional income. Maybe not. Maybe she just loves, helping hospice. That's a very, rewarding career. Maybe she just enjoys it. I don't know. I'm just kind of going with the clues right now. We do the kickoff call, and she watched the kickoff video. She read the guidebook. She watched all the stuff. She read all the stuff. She was very engaging. She was ready to go, and she had a very engaging personality. And I thought, oh, third red flag. So I dripped coaching on my health assessment call. And the way I do that on some health assessments calls, I have to ask all the questions. And before I get into the components of the program, I say, people reach out to us for a couple reasons. Obviously, they want to lose weight and improve their health. But I said the second reason people reach out to us, they know I've left my full-time occupation. And people reach out to me and say, hey, can I be a coach too? And, I said, now they're not our employees. They don't work for us, but yeah, I'll have that conversation with people that reach out to us. But I said, Mo, you've reached out to me about weight loss. So let's talk about that. So I put it on the table and then I take it off the table. And so then on the kickoff call, we were talking and I kind of mentioned coaching again. And she said, oh, I have a sister that might be interested in losing weight. Bingo. So she's giving me 4 red flags that I got bingo, bingo, bingo. So I thought, well, maybe she might be a coach down the road. On my documents, the health assessment, the follow-up documents, I keep notes. And every time I drip coaching or talk about coaching, I write it down because I don't want to talk about it every week. I don't want to seem like I'm bombarding somebody, but I identified holes in her canoe, potentially. And I thought, well, maybe income. She's not happy with her job. She's got a family member. She's very engaging. She's a professional. She obviously cares about people. And these will all be things that help her, not us. These are things that will impact her life and her, not us. So as our weekly calls went further, I just continued to drip it every 2 or 3 calls. And then she stepped into coaching about a week ago.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I'd call those green flags. Those are keep going flags, right? Keep going. So wonderful. I love that you were curious about that, Frank. I think that's the number one thing is you saw things and you asked questions about it. So welcome, Mo. So you're talking to Frank. You initially, I'm sure, came for, improving your physical health, weight loss. So how did it feel when Frank started talking to you about the business side of this?
Well, I mean, I'm in the helping profession, right? So he picked up on that. And I felt, I mean, it made me feel good that he would make some comments during our interactions. He would say, like, you already sound like a coach, listen to you, when I would kind of talk to him about maybe a setback or something, how I one time talked myself down from pulling over at Dairy Queen after a stressful day and going for that, dip cone that I just absolutely had to have. And then I had this whole conversation with myself and he said, how you, and then I didn't do it. Right. I went home and I just had, one of our fueling puddings, chocolate pudding, it kind of substituted. And I shared that story with him and he said, that is that's the kind of conversation that would inspire anyone. And it's like a coach conversation. So those kinds of things, him complimenting on different strides I had made in the process. I'm very encouraged because I am down quite a bit. I'm very close to I'm getting closer to my goal personally. And I think now my goal, because like he mentioned, it's actually my sister-in-law was very interested in what I was doing and wanted to know more. And just to share this, I think, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right?
That's so good.
When he said that to me about coaching, I said, you know what? I kind of wanted to wait until I was where I need, when I had met my goal. But I think part of the motivation is to know that I'm doing it alongside people, right?
Yeah. That's so good. One rapid fire quick answer here. So many of us as coaches, we might get in our own head, right? We might see somebody who is working full time, actually working multiple jobs. We as humans can make assumptions. You're too busy, right? You may not want to do this. This might seem small in comparison to what you're doing. What would you say to maybe a coach who's watching this right now, who's afraid to approach somebody who is maybe in your position?
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about it anyway to people. So I feel like, yeah, don't take it off the table. Right. Definitely. Yeah, it's doable.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, welcome to the team. Hope to see you weekly on the calls and wait to see how this changes your lives. And I'm hoping you're reading the comments of how Optavia coaching has helped others. Thanks so much. Thanks, Frank.
All right. Well, thanks, Mo, and welcome to the team. So glad you're here. So we're going to talk about numbers and all kinds of things tonight. We want to also answer your questions. So if you have any burning questions, if you will put them in the chat so that we can come back to you and answer them. So they could be questions about the back office, questions about taxes, questions about anything. All numbers are good numbers and okay. But want to introduce a fellow coach on the team. And she gave me the best quote I think I have ever heard from any coach in all of my 6 years of coaching today. And I almost fell out of my chair. She said, you know what, Meg? It helps when you pay attention. So it just cracked me up. Emily, will you tell us more about that cute comment you made and kind of where you are right now and what made you realize that?
Sure. Hey, everyone. Okay, so I had a rough couple last months where I wasn't hitting ED, and I got into a place where it was pretty easy for me to hit ED. So I kind of got used to it. I wasn't having to work so hard to get to ED. And then November, December, it kind of like slipped away. And I noticed my pay wasn't as much. And so I was like, well, this is not good. Like, what's happening here? It really does. It's pretty drastic, which I didn't really understand actually until this started happening. And so I started doing what Meg has always told me to do, which is go into my back office. So what do you say? Be the CEO of my business? Yeah. So I thought, okay, I should do that. So I went in there and I started doing the things that Meg always tells me to do every week that I'm like, okay. And so the first thing I do, I'm going to be really basic. Most of you probably already do this every time, but I needed it to be really basic when I went in there. And right before I came on this meeting, Meg texted me all the things that I had missed in my back office. So I'm hoping she's going to cover that with you all in a minute. But first, what I do is I look at my frontline volume because that's very important. I have a feeling Meg's going to show us how to do that in a little bit. But I want my personal frontline volume to be over 6,000, which means that I am bringing in $6,000, which then, of course, I don't make $6,000, but you know what I'm saying. So that has to be the first thing, not my organization. If my organization hits the $6,000, not the same as me personally and my frontline volume hitting 6,000. So my organization doing that is great, but that doesn't give us that 3-month consistency bonus. It has to be your frontline volume that gives you the 3-month consistency bonus of $1,000, which is great. Okay, so when I didn't hit this mark, I noticed a big pay cut and I was like, uh-oh. So I started looking around in there. The first thing I look for is whose orders are coming up. Am I looking like I've got enough coming up that it's going to hit the 6,000? Meg's going to show us how to see that, I'm sure. And then if I need to, anyone who I feel like keeps pushing their orders out a bit, I call them because I'm sending them my schedule, but maybe they're not scheduling with me. So if they're like about to order before the end of the month, especially if it's the last few days, I want to make sure I'm talking to them and making sure that they're going to place their order. Okay, so that's the first thing, just giving a little bit of extra attention. So being proactive about that. And then the next thing I look at, who has expiring rewards. So the rewards are good for like 60 days. If they've pushed it out past the 60 days, who's doing that? And if they let that happen, then they're going to lose the money that's in there from their rewards, but they're also going to lose free shipping, and they really don't like to do that. So I know this is really basic, but this is all what I have to tell myself now. So I reach out to all of them. I call them. If they don't answer, then I send them a text and I say, hey, you're going to lose this money and free shipping. So you might want to place your order before your 60 days is up. And I tell them what day that is. And usually they respond or they answer, so it's fine. And they've been placing their orders. So I make sure they understand that. Who's canceled, I go and see who's canceled recently, give them a call. I'm not super good about this, but I am going to be better about it because they're probably having all the noise in their head, just like all of us have when we aren't doing what we need to, and they probably just need a little coaching. So that's the thing. And then, another thing I did this month that was good is that I went in to my news when I send the newsletter, and I didn't have a lot of emails in there. So I put more emails in there and I just updated my CRM, and I send the little, you're past 180 days email that Meg just sends to us to send out. I just did that, which was really way simpler than I thought. And I really liked that Frank just said holes in my boat. So even though all those holes were in my boat and I went to check them out, there's still more holes in my boat that Meg was just able to look at really quickly and see. So that's basically it. I hope that helps. I don't know.
Love that. Yes, Emily, that helps. But I have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
Number one, I want to know, what would you tell the person who's like, yeah, but the numbers are a little bit scary. They're nervous to get in there. What would you tell that person or that coach tonight?
I would tell them that I hit ED this month because I did these things. And it was really very, very, very simple things.
So once you got in there, it wasn't as scary.
No, it's not scary at all. And if you're scared, then just talk to your coach about it. And if your coach doesn't know, then just call Meg directly.
Or your mentor, whoever that is.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
So, and then my other question is, how often are you getting in the back office? So you made this switch.
So before I wasn't getting in there at all, but lately I've been getting in there every day. Like I know, and I wasn't coached on that answer. I really have just been checking to see what's going on in there. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, I have to call this person. I need to check on this. And it just is really simple. It's really not that hard. And I made myself a little to-do list of like things I should do every day and every week. And so I'm just trying to be more proactive in that because I really want that $1,000 extra.
Yeah, girl, come on.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Emily, for sharing all that with you. You are right. We're going to actually view your back office. So thank you for letting us take an inside look into your world. And we're going to make it really simple, but I want to have this deal with you guys. Sometimes seeing all these numbers can create questions. So if you have questions, put them in the chat because our goal is to make this really, really simple. And so before we do this, I'm going to give you a challenge to stay above the line as you are ending your month, as you are looking at your back office. So, we love 411. We've got Optavia 411, the Dream Team 411. We love these numbers. So when you are in your back office, I want you to give it the 411. I want you to look and see 4 things that you're proud of. And I'm going to tell you the 4 things I'm proud of for Emily when I'm in her back office. And then I want you to look for one thing that you wish you would have done differently. And then I want you to set one goal for the next month. So give it the 411. And it really helps when you look for the positives, when you look at the things that you're doing well, it helps really set that perspective for yourself. All right, so let's take a peek at Emily's back office. So when you log in, one of the things Emily says that she does is she checks to see what her projected frontline volume is. And she was so smart to note that it's not her group volume, so the volume of her coaches, it's just her own personal volume. So you can see here, her projected frontline volume is 6.4. So we get a big check mark, right? Because her goal was 6,000. So that's great. She's meeting her goal. The other thing she says she does is she goes into client support and she looks at her client orders. So she looks at her current month, and my computer is there we go. And so these are all of her current orders. So she looks through these, and what she also does is she sees whose name is missing. So who should have ordered because she's talking to them, right? She knows they're setting up time on her calendar. So who should have ordered that is missing? She thinks about that. Another thing that she does that's really smart is she looks for her on-demand orders. So you can see here, when you click this button for client support, it gives you all the information you need. It's really amazing. But she wants to know which of her orders were on-demand orders. Now that helps for 2 reasons. Number one, that client isn't getting rewards and they're not getting free shipping. So you're going to help that client, but also that client doesn't have any future orders. So you help yourself, you help that client. So, and the way to do that is when this order comes up, you can see order type. And if you just click on any of these columns, they will sort. So I clicked on order type and the 2 on-demand orders come up here. And you see there's Gary. She knows what's going on with Gary. So she would know, okay, do I need to contact him or not? But then the other thing that she does, which is great, she goes into her client's report and she sorts by the last order date. And I like when the last order date is at the top. And what she does is she goes to see, okay, whose order, who has it been more than 180 days since they've ordered, because they qualify to save $115 and get free shipping. And here's my tip. If you have Alexa, I have to say her name quietly or she'll start performing for you. But I asked her what 180 days ago was. And when I did it right before you came on, she told me it was August 2nd of 2023. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find August of 2023. So here we go. So this tells me Kim Clark, her last order was 7/30 of 2023. So you see how she would be somebody I would call and let her know she qualifies. And really, I would call to check up on Kim and see how Kim's doing, love on her, see what's going on in her world, and also want to see if maybe she brings it to health and is ready to get back on plan. And you can see Mark is another one. And I would just encourage her to go through all of these to see who she wanted to contact. The other thing that's always good, especially towards the end of the month, is over client support, I look at my projected premieres. So, and what do you know? Here's Kim Clark on her projected premiere. Y'all, we just saw Kim Clark qualifies for $115 off. So, and it looks like her next premiere date is 1/31. If Kim's order goes in then, she's going to miss out on all of these savings. So Emily can help Kim save money and save in shipping and all of the things, right? If she calls her before this order goes through and lets her know, gets her to unenroll in Premier and re-enroll in Premier and fix up her order. So that's what I texted Emily before this call, because I was playing around in here and I just wanted to make sure she saw that. So that's one thing to do. The other thing Emily talked about was she looks at her canceled Premier report. So these are the people that canceled. These are the people that could be all up in their head, or maybe they had enough fuelings, or maybe they tried to maintain for a little while. She doesn't know what happened with them. So she wants to call to make sure it's not going to be awkward between the two of them. Think about how it feels for that client. You know, if you cancel, if you know, it can feel awkward for them. They're probably wondering, are we still friends? Is it okay? So I always call clients when they cancel and just let them know, hey, it's okay. We're still friends. My door's always open. I'm here if there's ever anything I can help them with, health-wise or anything else. Because you just want to make sure things don't ever feel awkward. Because when that person does want to get healthy again, I want them to think about me. Okay. And then the next thing that she does, that she talks about, and this I do every single week, is I look at my expiring rewards. So if you go over here and you click on rewards expiration date, this tells you whose rewards are going to expire. She really has only one that needs attention, and it's Ellen. So Ellen is somebody I would text, I would call, connect with in the organic way that she usually connects with Ellen to check in on her and make sure she's going to place an order if she needs one before her rewards expire. Okay, I'm going to take a great big giant breath because I feel like I just went and gave you all kinds of information. I'm going to check the chat. And the other thing that we're going to talk about tonight is what your mindset needs to be when you get to the end of the month, right? Because you get to the end of the month, you got this clock ticking. It can be a little bit of a exciting, can be emotional time. Lauren, you are great with your mindset at the end of the month. Will you share with us some tips on how you handle that?
Absolutely. And Meg knows we are very different in the fact that like Meg is such a numbers guru, and it is not my gifting, nor is it what I really want to focus on. I'm like, I will love the people. I don't really, so just so you know, that's kind of where I come from. But I want to talk tonight about just some things that have really helped me to overcome some of the not great mindsets that I've had at the end of the month. And I've been able to help a lot of coaches with end of months for nearly 6 years now. So just some things that I guess would be nuggets that I want to share with you tonight. So I have 5 points. And number 1 is to find out, and you might need to ask your coach to do this, but if you have a specific goal, like for Emily, she knew that she needed to hit a certain volume, like over 6,000, to maintain getting that $1,000 bonus. Okay. It might be, what would it mean to help one more person to get a 3% bonus or a 5%? Might mean, what would it mean to get one more client if I have 4, and if I get one more, I bump up from 15% to 20%. So kind of knowing what would your additional income be. And the reason I say that is because then for me personally and with my coaches, I really like to connect the income to what would that mean for my family. So it may be, I know Emily has 2 kids, so it may mean that $500 to $1,000 bump, that $500 might be paying for her kids' extracurricular activities. For me, it might mean saving up for our annual trip where we go to Jekyll Island and rent a camper, or it might go in a travel fund, or it might, so really connecting the emotions to the income. Because I find for myself, because I'm not really a numbers driven person, it doesn't help if someone says, you're going to get another $150. I'm like, I have to actually think about, well, what would I do with that? And what would that mean to me? So I don't know if that's helpful for you guys. And then the second thing is to connect the numbers with people. So for instance, like I personally have a goal, and it's honestly just helping one more person before the end of the month for sure. And, stretch goals 3, right? So I know what the income would be between those 2 things, but I also know these are people. Like, these are people that we're talking about. It's not just a number. And so I think remembering, and, when we're doing our map, like really connecting to the people that are on that and what it means to help someone change their life, and really coming into that with an abundance mindset of, there are so many people who maybe I've helped before that feel lost, who maybe just need me to reach out to remind them that I believe in them and that I have full confidence that they can reach their goals. They might just need to hear that. I get chills talking about that because, I think for some people, and we were talking about this earlier, but it can be, sometimes we tell ourselves that it can be easier just to take our foot off the, what's it called? The pedal, because then it won't hurt as bad if we don't hit our goals. But whose life might have been changed if you took that step, if you took that action that maybe you're scared to? And I'm getting chills because I know I'm talking to myself right now. But just keeping the heart of the matter, like what are we actually doing and why? And how cool that helping those people can also help our families, can also help us fulfill dreams that we have. And the number 3 thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. So I think a lot of times there's fear of, I don't want to work so hard and then just get so exhausted. And what is that going to mean? And and I know I can tend to go down that rabbit hole, and that's kept me from some goals before. But really, it's not working harder necessarily. It's just working smarter and using our time wisely. And I find I do my best work when I have blocks of time and when I'm fully invested. Like today, I only worked from 9 to 12:30. Those were my working hours today, but I tell you, I gave my full heart during those 3.5 hours. I was fully present, fully engaged. And then I spent time with my girls. I took them to the swim team. I did, but keeping the things that are important to you, the main things. But when you're blocking your time, going all in and giving 100% when you're doing that. And then number 4 is, I think it's so helpful to just spend 20 to 30 minutes. We can call this a power session. Just spend 20 to 30 minutes. And I encourage you to make 2 lists. So on one list, to write names. And this might be going through some of that back office where you're looking at, all the different things that they told you, recommended you guys look at. It could also be just, for me, I like to pray each morning, like, God, who might need to hear from me today? Who can I love? Who can I serve? Who just might need me to call them? Just kind of sitting there in the silence, which I know is hard for most of us, sitting in the silence and just listening to who comes to mind, who comes to our heart, because 9 times out of 10, there's a reason for that. So making a list of people, and then on another list of just ideas, getting into that creative growth mindset of what could I do, and make it fun and maybe make it silly, but maybe it's post ideas. Maybe it's sending an email, right, to the 180-day people. Maybe it's calling your current clients and saying, hey, I bet there's people in your world noticing, and asking for referrals. So just having fun with that, and clue in your mentors with that. So clue in your mentors with your list, clue in your mentors with your action steps so that they can encourage you and so that you guys can run together and have fun. And then the last thing I want to say is just the difference between at the end of the month when you're taking off your foot from the gas and just coasting and like, all right, whatever happens, happens. I'm not even going to check connect because I don't even really want to know. Right. I've been there. I think we probably all have. But instead, like, how does it feel to end that way? And how does it feel when you go into the next month that way versus when you create these lists, when you're having fun, when you're engaging and having connections? Like, worst case scenario, you don't reach your goal. Guess what? That's okay. It's okay. But I bet you're going to reach it. I bet you're so much closer to reaching it because you planted those seeds. And I like to think, as you guys know, I love flowers and plants. So I like to kind of think of, are we planting the seeds and watering them, or are we just kind of letting them sit there and dying? Right? Like, that's kind of the thing. And so just remembering that consistency is key. And I've been talking too long, so I'm going to hand it over to Lucy because we actually had a very similar conversation today, and I want her to share some things with you.
Yes, I know we're right at 8 o'clock, so I'll make it really, really quick. I am the person she's been probably referring to. We have a lot of similarities. So for me, because of my background in sales, I absolutely hate the end of the month because it takes me back to 30 years of the end of the month. You're grinding, trying to hit your goals, your monthly goals, your quarterly goals, all of that. And so what I tend to do in my mind is like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not. And I wasn't, put it that way. But Lauren helped me to really see how me doing that is I'm still focusing on me and I'm not focusing on the people that God really has placed in my life to serve. And so one of the things that we talked about today is what can I still do? Not even so much just do, where do I need to be myself in terms of emotionally and mentally? Because let me put it this way, I'm just being selfish, lack of a better word, I'm just being selfish when I take my foot off the gas and not continue to go. Because the thing is, what she reminded me of is my big reason for building this business is getting my husband home. That has not changed. And when I take my foot off the gas and just coast and let whatever happens, I'm not taking control of the future that I really truly want. And so I've done a lot of the things that Emily has said, and spent some time praying today, literally in my car, driving to an appointment, praying. So between now and Wednesday, end of the month, I will keep my foot on the pedal, Lauren. I will keep my foot there. Because I want to hit February knowing that I gave it my all and not that I just coasted in.
And how good will that feel, right? That's awesome.
Amazing, yes.
All right, Meg, I'm handing it back to you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank y'all for sharing your hearts and your mindset and your tips with us. And thank you for investing in yourself by being on tonight. We're going to challenge you to 411 your business tonight. Send it to your mentor as we start the month of February here in a couple of days. 4 things you're proud of, 1 thing you wish you would have done differently, and 1 goal for yourself for the next month. We love you guys. We will see you here next Monday. Have a good one.